Welcome, yogis. So we'll start just by finding a comfortable seated position. So either sitting cross-legged, or you can sit up on your shins or even on a chair. I'm going to just start off with by just finding balance between the left and the right sides of your sit bone. So just moving from side to side and even from back and forwards. And then just feel both sides grounded. And then you want to just feel a gentle lift up. So you're lifting your waist, your ribs out of the way, out of the pelvis, and then all the way up through the crown of your head. Okay, and then just take your hands together at your heart center. Take a moment just to give gratitude for all that has got you here to this moment. And then set your intention for the day. And just release your hands, and you may like to just close your eyes here or just soften your gaze. Just take a few moments just to watch the flow of your breath, just noticing as the breath comes into the body, as it flows out of the body. Just allowing the breath to flow in and out through your nose. And just notice if there are any areas that feel stuck, or you're experiencing any resistance or restrictions with the breathing. Okay. And then take a few moments just to observe the left and the right sides of your body. Notice if you can sense any difference between the two sides. So imagine that there's a line running all the way down through the center of your body, midline. And then you're just noticing or comparing the left and the right sides. From shoulders down to your hips. Okay, and then just slowly open your eyes, and let's come down to lying on your back. So again, today we're working into the side body. So we did a bit of this yesterday, just creating length and creating space for your breathing. And today we'll focus more on this opening out, also the contraction of the muscles through the side body, and then the release of the muscles. Okay, so we'll start off with by doing this contracting and releasing. So feet about hip width distance apart, just bringing your heels slightly towards your buttocks. Feet are on the ground. And then just feel the base of your skull on your mat, chin gently drawing towards your chest. So you feel your spine long, just noticing those natural curves of your spine. Okay, and then you're going to start off by pushing down into your right foot and then floating the right side of the hip up. So keep the left side down, the right side just floats up. As you keep pushing into your foot, just feel that you're lengthening your thigh forward like we do in bridge pose. So you lengthen the thigh forward all the way out through the knee, and you'll probably start to feel this all the way from the buttock up through the sideways, keeping the shoulders anchored. And then just slowly release that back down. Stay with the right side. So again, pushing into your right foot, float the right side of the hip up. Again, you're pushing down into your foot to lengthen the thigh. Okay, and now we're going to start to bring the head and shoulder into the movement. So you're going to gently turn your head towards the right, and then push your shoulder, anchor your shoulder down into the ground. And you should feel a contraction all the way from the ribs down towards the hip. Just give it a squeeze. And then slowly release them. Just pay attention to the release. So you release the shoulder, bring your head back to center, and then lower the hip. Okay, well, let's stay with the right side again. So pushing down into your right foot. Float the right side of the hip up. Again, find that length. and then turn your head to the right, just being mindful of your neck, and then anchor the shoulder down. So you're really just grounding the shoulder in towards the ground. And as you do that, you'll start to feel the contraction. You'll feel it all along the right side of the body. Just give it a squeeze and notice what you feel contracting. And then as you start to release, and again, shoulder, head and hip, just notice what you feel and notice the length. And then just reset your pelvis each time you come back down. It might slightly shift. Okay, let's do one more time. So push down into your right foot. Allow the right side of the hip to lift. Again, lengthen. So you feel it all the way from the hip right through the knee. And then turn your head to the right and then anchor the right shoulder down. Again, contract. Notice what you feel squeezing. Maybe give it a little bit more of a squeeze. And then slowly release. Again, shoulder. Bring your head back to center. Lower your hip. And then just reset your pelvis. And then just take a few moments and just notice what you feel between the difference between the left and the right side. If you notice a difference. Or if you don't. Okay, left side. So push into your left foot. Float the left side of the hip up. Again, keep the right side down. And it's not a big movement. You're just lifting it just away from the ground. And then keep anchoring through the foot as you lengthen through the front of the thigh. Again, just pay attention to where you feel this. Probably from the buttock up into the side waist. Keeping the shoulders down. And then we'll just slowly release the left hip down. Again, just re-center your pelvis. Okay, now we start to bring the upper body into the movement. So again, push into your foot, float the hip up. Now turn your head gently to the left, just to where it's comfortable for you, and then anchor the shoulder down. So you're grounding down the arm bone and towards the ground, the shoulder. Squeezing, and again, notice what you feel contracting. Give it a squeeze, and then release the shoulder, head, hip, and again, just recenter. Just pause, relax the body. And then we'll do it again. So push into the left foot, float the left hip. Again, you lengthen out through the knee, turn your head, and then push down. Again, paying attention to what you feel contracting here. Well, what turns on? What can you feel engaging? And where do you feel it? Okay, and then slowly release. So again, shoulder, head, and hip. Okay, one more time. So again, float the hip up. Turn your head and then anchor the shoulder down. Again, breathing here and just noticing what you feel. And then we'll slowly release. And again, as you release, just notice that length. Just reset the pelvis and then close your eyes for a moment and just notice. Again, observing the difference between the left and the right side. Just breathing here. Okay, and then from here, just give your knees are hugging towards your chest. We're going to make our way up to a seated position, so you can rock and roll up. You may like to just gently rock from side to side to begin with though. Or you can take your legs long, hands underneath your buttocks. You push down into your hands, your forearms, and then lift your chest up. Come all the way up to sitting, and then we're going to come all the way up and over into child's pose. So just come into a child's pose where you're taking your hips towards your heels and then lengthen your arms long. And you walk your hands forward and then just prong up onto your fingertips. Now if you need a little bit more space, you can separate your knees a little bit more. And now again, you're paying attention to the left and the right sides of your body. So you invite length to both sides. Hips keep drawing towards your heels as you keep lengthening through the arms. Just breathing. Okay, and then just place your hands down. You may need to bring your knees in just a little bit closer if you separated them. And then as you push down into your hands, you're going to round up into cat position. Then curl your toes under. Just allow your spine to go long. And then you're going to hover your knees above the ground, toward your navel and towards your spine. Take your hips back and then lift your hips up. Push down and forward through your hands. And again, think of the length that you're creating all the way through the hands, arms, through the ribs, the waist, right up to your hips. You can keep your knees bent as much as you need here, especially if you're tight through the backs of your legs and you feel that pulling on the pelvis, and then you feel you're rounding into your lower back. Okay, so just breathing here. And then lower your knees down to the ground. We're going to rise up, just lead with the sternum and reaching all the way up. Nice deep breath in, and then exhale. Take your arms out to the sides and then come down to your child's pose. And just resting your forehead towards the ground. And then reaching your arms long. Again, we're going to round up here. So rounding all the way through the upper back. Coming into cat position, and then allow your spine to lengthen. Curl your toes under, sliding back to your downward facing dog. Exhale the breath, and then as you inhale, lower your knees down, and then rising up, reaching your arms all the way up, and then exhale, folding down into your child's pose. Let's do one more full round here. So again, take your hands long, push into your hands, and then you're rounding up into your cat position. And breathe in, lengthen through the spine, and then curl your toes under. Exhale to downward facing dog. Okay, lower your knees down. Take a big breath in as you rise up, reaching up. And then exhale the breath. Progressive contraction as you take your hips toward your heels and float down to your child's pose. Walk your hands long. Lift your hips up just to about halfway. Then you're going to just take your both hands, walking them over towards the right side of the room. And then from here, you're going to just slowly slide your hips back towards just your heels, just until you feel that stretch through the left side of the body. Back out if you need to, or if you're not feeling much, you can come in a little bit deeper. Just keep your gaze down towards the ground. And push into your hands. Lift your chest up, just up halfway, so hips are just lifting up halfway. And again, walk your hands to center and then over towards the left. And then you slowly slide your hips back towards your heels. Again, keep your gaze down towards the ground. Just notice the sensations all the way through the right side of the body. Again, if you want to come in a little bit deeper, you may like to try stacking your right hand on top of your left, or slightly backing out of the pose. Okay, push into your hands, again rising up. Just walk your hands back to center, come back to a tabletop position. And then just curling your toes under, walk your hands all the way back towards your knees. Push your hands down into the ground, lift your knees, and then lift your hips. Okay, from here, you're going to just take your hands underneath you, towards your heart center, and lengthen your spine. So drawing forward through the crown of your head, tailbone, drawing back. So you're elongating in both directions. Okay, now leading with the sternum, so leading with your chest, you're going to push into your feet and rise all the way up to standing. And release your arms. Okay, let's come into lateral flow. So lateral being lateral flexion of the spine. Okay, so just stepping your feet about hip-width distance apart. And we've got options. So you can either just take your right hand onto your hip, left arm, palm turns up and then reaches up. You can do that. Or you can take both arms up towards the ceiling. Maybe interlacing your fingers, so you'll have your index fingers pointing up towards the ceiling. Okay, so reaching up, take a nice deep breath in. And then as you exhale, you'll come over towards the right side of the room. So pushing down into your left foot as you lengthen all the way through that left side of the body. And then inhale to center. Now if you've got your hand on your hip, you're going to switch. Otherwise, again, just keeping your hands together and take it over to the left. And again, push down into that right foot. Lengthen. You're staying in the same plane here, so notice if you're tipping forward or tipping back. If you're tipping forward, just gently bring your left shoulder forward. And then come back to center. We'll come over to the right side again. So again, switch your hands if you've got one hand on your hip. Lift up. Feel like you're really lifting up through those ribs. And then take it over to the right. Again, push down into your left foot. Lengthen all the way through the left side of the body. And to center. One more time, so reaching up, Feel like you're lifting up through those back ribs, and then take it over towards the left. And again, just check in to notice if you're leaning. Just breathing here and pushing down into that right foot. And then come back to center. And just release your arms. You can give your shoulders a little bit of a shake out. And then come to facing the top of your mat. We're going to come into Warrior Two pose. So step the right foot forward, not Warrior Two, sorry, Warrior One. Well, right foot forward, left foot back. So both feet are on the ground, your front foot faces forward, your back foot slight angle, and you want to give yourself enough space that you can bring your hip points to face forward. Okay, so that may mean you need to railway track your legs a little bit. Okay, and just check your front knee is over your ankle, so you may need to take your back leg a little bit further back if your knee is coming past the ankle. Okay, and then just stabilize, so grounding down through your feet. Take your right hand onto your hip, take a breath in, you're going to bend into your front knee and lift your left arm up. Now as you reach through those fingers, push down through the outer edge of your back foot. So thinking of pinky toe side towards your heel. And then feel it all the way up towards your buttock. So as you push down, you're also feeling the buttock engage. Okay, and then just slowly release back out of the pose. Exhale the breath, and then again breathing in. We'll just flow with the breath. And exhale. We'll do that again. So coming in, breathing in, lift up. Push down through the outer edge of your back foot, and then exhale. Navel draws in, back out of the pose. Let's do it another 2 full rounds. So exhale, and then inhale. And back out of the pose, exhale the breath. This time you're going to reach both arms up. So lifting up, breathing in. As you exhale the breath, you're going to take your elbows out to the side and then pull the elbows down towards your body. So you're hugging the elbows in and release your arms down. And then take your arms all the way up towards the ceiling. You can back out of the pose. And then as you start to pull the elbows down, just coming into the pose, so drawing the elbows down, forearm, triceps area, so upper arms down in towards your body. And then just release your hands, forearms down, release the shoulders. And then again, come into the pose. So reaching up, and then bending into that front knee as you pull the elbows down. Squeezing, and then release your arms. And then just relax the arms. Take a breath in, reach up, and then step all the way forward. Exhale to release your arms. And then just give the body a little bit of a shake out, and then step the other foot back. So this time, left foot back, right foot back, left foot forward. And again, a slight turning of your toes, and you may need to railway track your legs again. So pelvis comes forward, so you can take your hands onto your hip points and gently draw your pelvis around. Now, if it feels stuck and it feels like you're torquing the knees, then take your feet a lot wider to give yourself some more space. Okay, so again, just check your front knee is over your ankle when you're bending into the knee. Otherwise, take your back foot back. Okay, so take your left hand onto your front knee. You're going to reach your right arm forward, bending into that front knee, breathing in. And then exhale to back out of the pose. So again, just inhale, reaching up as you reach through the fingertips, pushing out through the outer edge of your back foot. And release again as you exhale, navel draws in. So inhale. And exhale. We've got another 2 to go. So breathing in. And exhale. Last time. And exhale the breath. And this time we sweep both arms up. So reaching up, grounding down through your feet. And then you're going to slowly pull the elbows down, hugging the upper arms in towards the ribs. And then just release your arms down. You can relax the shoulders. And again, just back out of the pose, reaching your arms up. And then slowly coming into the pose as you pull the elbows down. Stay strong and grounded through your feet. Again, release your arms and relax. One more time, so reaching up. And gently bending into that front knee, and then pull the elbows down. Breathing here. Feel it squeezing through the shoulders, shoulder blades. Release your arms down. And again. Oh, actually this time we're going to turn. So just back out of the pose and then just turn your left foot so it comes forward, and now you're facing the long side of your mat. Okay, so we take a wide leg squat. So just bending into your, so taking your hips back, bending into your knees. You can take your hands onto the fronts of your thighs, or you can take your hands down to the ground. Okay, and then as your sit bones come back, lengthen your spine. Another option is just to take your elbows, forearms in against your thighs. Just breathing here. Just take another full round of breath. Just breathe in. Just lengthen. And exhale the breath completely. Okay, and then again, take your hands underneath your heart center. So find that length in your spine. You're going to push down into your feet and then lead with the chest to come all the way up to standing and release your arms. Okay, so we'll still keep the feet wide and toes pointing towards the long side of the mat or thereabouts. Just make sure you feel stable. Okay, now we're going to take the arms again to a cactus, and again thinking of that lateral flexion to the spine. Okay, so we're going to tip over towards the right side. Just notice the contraction and then come back through center. And then take it over towards the left side. Notice if you're popping your hip out. So stabilize through the pelvis, creating that lateral spinal flexion. Okay, back to center. And again, take it over to the right, giving those obliques a squeeze, squeezing through the sideways. Make sure you're staying in the same plane here. So again, notice if you're tipping forward or tipping back. Okay, come back through center. We'll do that again. So tipping over towards the left and to center. Let's do it one more full round. So taking it over towards the right, squeezing through the sideways to center, and then over towards the left. Okay, just release your arms, just take a moment here, maybe shake out through the shoulders, and then again take your arms back to the cactus. Okay, so again, come over towards the right side. This time you're going to take your right arm onto your thigh, just land it wherever it lands, and then turn your left palm so it's facing towards the right side, and then you're going to start to reach. So reaching over towards, all the way over towards the right. Okay, now slightly backing out of the pose, pull your elbow down. So you're contracting again, feel that contraction down through the left side waist. And then again, reaching, maybe taking your gaze out over your fingertips if that feels okay for your neck. And then again, pulling the elbow down, contracting through the left side. And stay in the pose so you're not fully coming out of the pose. Let's do it one more time. So reaching all the way through the fingers, again pushing through the outer edge of that left foot, and then pull the elbow down. Okay, this time we're going to hold here, so reaching. And you can turn your head so we'll look out of your fingers or maybe down towards the ground. Just breathing here, creating that length all the way through the left side body, but also paying attention to the contraction on the right. Just have your head in a place that's comfortable for you. Just breathing here. And then on your inhale breath, reach your arm up, come back to standing, and we'll switch sides. Okay, so again, cactus your arms. Okay, and then we'll take it over towards the left side, and again release your left hand down to your left thigh, just wherever it lands. Okay, and then you're going to start to, so turn your palm first, so it's facing towards the left side of the room, and then reaching up and over. So again, you may like to look out over your fingers if that feels okay for your neck. And then you're going to pull back, slightly coming out of the pose. You're just lifting the ribs up and pulling your elbow down. So again, you're feeling that contraction now through the left. And then reaching, so now you're lengthening. And then drawing the elbow down and shortening. So notice the shortening And that's what we're paying attention to. So it's not about how deep you can come into the pose, but notice the length and then notice as it shortens. So again, you're still staying in the pose, just pulling the elbow down. Last time as you reach, taking up and over, and again, you can keep your gaze over your fingertips, maybe turning your gaze to look down or just keeping it straight forward. Just breathing here. Nice long deep breath in. On your next breath in, rise all the way up. Release your arm down, and then you can either step or jump your feet together. And then let's come down onto your back first. Just give your knees a hug. You can just rock from side to side. Okay, and then let's come all the way up and over into tabletop position to crocodile position. So you're just going to have your hands stacked, just resting your forehead onto your arms. Just breathing here. Okay, and then roll over onto your right side. Okay, so you're going to take your left leg out in front of you, lengthen through the right leg, and then take your left arm up towards the ceiling. So you're going to kick your right foot in towards your buttock and take a hold of the inside edge of your foot. And now if you don't reach the foot, you can use a strap around your foot. And then from here, you're going to just slowly start to lower the foot down and just feel that opening from the shoulder all the way down and across your body. And you can rest your head on the ground, on your hand. Just breathing here. Okay, slowly release your leg. Roll all the way back onto your back, front, and then come onto the other side. So you're lying on your left side. So bring your right knee out in front of you, and you'll take your right arm up towards the ceiling and kick your left foot in towards your buttocks. So now you're holding onto the inside edge of your bottom foot. Just holding there, and then you just slowly start to draw the foot towards the ground. Feel that opening from the shoulder all the way across the body, down towards that opposite leg. And again, you can stay upright or maybe rolling over gently. Just another full round of breath here. And then release your foot. Come back down onto your belly. And again, just come into crocodile pose. I'm just going to fix my microphone, which just popped off. So just resting your forehead. Okay, and then when you're ready, just push all the way up and come to lying on your back. So just have your feet on the ground, knees bent. And you're going to take your right arm up towards the ceiling and then take it towards the back of the room as you take your right leg long. And then bring your arm back alongside you and bend your knee. And then again, sweeping your arm back as you take your right leg long and then release. One more time, just finding that length all the way through the right side of the body. And then release. Okay, now from here you're going to just start to take your legs long and then walk your legs over towards the left side of your mat. So you're starting to open out a little bit more into that right side, and then take your right arm up towards the back of the room, and you're going to slide your left arm down your left thigh and start to take your body over towards the left side of the room. So you're starting to open it all the way up through that right side, making a crescent moon shape. making sure both hips are staying on the ground. Just breathing all the way down through the right side of the body. So breath awareness, the right side, but also keep some awareness on the area through the left that you're contracting. Okay, and then slowly come back to center, just releasing your right arm down, walk your legs back, and then bend your knees. And just take a couple of moments, just notice the difference between the left and the right side. Okay, and then you're going to take your left arm up towards the ceiling and then extending your leg and arm away from each other. And then release. So lowering your arm alongside you, bending your knee, and then again extending out through that left side and release. We'll do it one more time. So again, taking your limbs away from each other and then release. Okay, and then take your legs long. Again, keeping your hips down towards the ground, start to walk your legs over to the right side. Just as far right as feels comfortable while keeping that left side of the hip down, and then sweep your left arm up towards the back of the room as you start to take your right arm down your leg, and you're going to start to create that arc shape with the upper body. Again, keep the hip points down so everything stays flat on the ground rather than talking or rolling to one side. And again, you're opening up all the way through the left side of the body, but notice that contraction also through the right side. We'll just take another couple of rounds of breath here. So just breathing. And then slowly release your arm, bring your torso back to center and walk your legs back. Okay, and then take your hands just underneath your sit bones again. Keep your legs long, push into the ground, lift all the way up to a seated position. And then take your legs long and just push out through the soles of your feet. If you need to, you can sit up on a blanket, especially if you feel like you're rounding into the lower back here. And then take a breath in, reaching your arms up. Now we're going to hinge at the hips as we come forward. So it's not a rounding at the waist. So reaching forward all the way through your fingers, just hinging at the hips, and then lowering your hands down. Keep reaching with the sternum. Just coming down to wherever feels comfortable for you. And then walk your hands all the way back up. And come back down onto your back. Just give your knees a hug. Maybe take your nose up towards your knees. And then just making your way into your Shavasana. Again, just sensing the body. Notice any subtle changes, anything that may have moved or shifted for you throughout the practice. Just allow your nervous system to assimilate all that's gone on. You're welcome to stay here for as long as you like. When you're ready, you'll make your way up to a seated position. We're going to come all the way up to Sukhasana, or a cross-leg position, or just this position you started with at the start. Okay, and then again, just close your eyes here. Visualizing that midline, the line all the way down through the center of your body. And again, just notice the difference between the left and the right side. And take your hands together at your heart center. And take a deep breath in, rising up tall within yourself. As you exhale, take your head down towards your heart and take a moment to acknowledge the time that you spent doing something good for your body and for your mind. And thank you so much for joining me. From me to you, Namaste.